All right, let's dive right in. We're going to unpack a single, pretty explosive legal document. Now, this isn't your average filing. This is one person's detailed accusation of a systemic failure that he says has been going on for a decade. And this is his fight to make the system answer for it. So, where do we even start? Well, how about right here, with what the petitioner calls the central absurdity of the whole thing. You're looking at the state's official response to his legal motions. But here's the catch. They filed it in a totally different case. I mean, wrong case number, wrong family name, wrong child, everything. The petitioner argues this isn't just some simple clerical error. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger problem. And that brings us to the core theme, straight from the petitioner's own words. He's not trying to decide if it's one or the other. He's saying, look, it's both. It's a deliberate attempt to evade and it's catastrophic incompetence. This one sentence really sets the stage for everything we're about to get into. You see, that filing mistake, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The petitioner's case goes way deeper into this mystery of what he calls the phantom court order. Let's follow the breadcrumbs. Here it is. This is the ghost in the machine. A single line that just appeared in the court's official records 7 years after the case started. Child Support Order First NA. According to the filing, this one little entry is what was used to justify years and years of enforcement actions. So let's break this down. A legitimate court order, well, it needs a judge's signature. It needs an actual document attached to it. This NA entry, it has neither. The petitioner argues that NA, not applicable, is the smoking gun. It proves this was just an administrative entry, something an office worker typed in, not a real order from a judge. And that leads to a really serious legal accusation, an ultra-virus act. It's a fancy term, but it basically means someone did something they had absolutely no legal authority to do. In this case, the claim is that an agency essentially created a fake court order, and that's a power that only a judge has. Okay, so you might be wondering, why would anyone create a phantom order in 2022? Well, the filing argues it was all to cover up a huge mistake made right at the very beginning of the case. So let's rewind the clock to 2015. This timeline is absolutely critical. On June 9th, 2015, the court settles on a support amount. Everything seems to be moving along. But then, the very next day, something happens that the petitioner says should have stopped the entire process cold. And boom, there it is, in all caps, right from the court's own records. The day after the hearing, the clerk explicitly states they are unable to enter support orders. So think about that. If the order was never actually entered, what exactly has been enforced for the last decade? This really is the perfect way to describe it. The petitioner's whole argument is that every enforcement action, every paycheck garnished, every license suspended, was built on a foundation that just wasn't there. It was a complete house of cards, ready to fall apart at any moment. And if you thought it couldn't get more confusing, buckle up. The petitioner claims he wasn't just dealing with one flawed system, but that he was trapped in an interstate nightmare he calls a jurisdictional black hole. The filing includes emails from officials. First up, you have South Dakota saying, hey, we don't register cases with Colorado, we just share the info, so they can do the enforcing. Sounds simple enough. Then you have Colorado chiming in, basically saying, yep, we're just working this because South Dakota asked us to. Okay, so it seems like everyone's on the same page, right? Another technician from Colorado makes it even clearer. She writes, point blank, South Dakota is in charge of this case. So it seems settled. Colorado is just acting on behalf of South Dakota. But then, the petitioner goes back to South Dakota and asks them about it. And the response he gets? 2 words, no jurisdiction. So wait a minute. If Colorado says South Dakota is in charge, but South Dakota says they have no jurisdiction, then who is actually responsible here? The petitioner says the answer is nobody. Now, let's step away from the legal back and forth for a moment, because none of this happened in a vacuum. The filing makes it very clear that these alleged errors had severe, devastating, real-world consequences. First, the petitioner documents 527 days of homelessness, and he directly connects this to having his driver's license suspended because of this case, which made it impossible for him to get to work and earn a living. Then there's the money. His own forensic audit claims a staggering total of over $142,000 in financial harm, all from what he says was a decade of enforcement that should have never happened. And those license suspensions? it wasn't just a one-time thing. The document alleges it happened 4 different times, repeatedly pulling the rug out from under him and destroying his ability to work and stay housed. So, after laying all of this out, what is he actually asking the court to do about it? Well, it's about a lot more than just stopping future payments. It's about completely unwinding a decade of what he claims are profound errors. His demands are huge. First, get that phantom order erased from the record. Second, void the entire case from day one. Third, he wants a full official audit and every single penny that was taken to be returned. And finally, and this is a big one, he wants the court to refer the officials involved for a criminal investigation for allegedly messing with public records. And believe it or not, there's even more. The filing also claims the wrong legal worksheet was used for a decade, that a written debt waiver from his ex-wife was just ignored, and that the state kept collecting money even during times the children weren't living with their mother. It just shows you how deep these allegations go. And that really brings us back full circle to the central question posed in the filing. As a petitioner writes, a mistake that gets ignored eventually becomes a crime, a system that has to break the law in order to enforce the law. So what are we looking at? Is it just incompetence, or is it something else entirely? And in the end, that's what it all comes down to. The filing concludes by saying that every other option, going to the agencies themselves, to lawmakers, through all the official channels, has either failed or been deliberately blocked. The petitioner argues that the court is now his last and only hope for justice.